Conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Oh, good morning. Oh, man. Is today the first day of December? How the heck? How did that even happen? How did we get here? It's flown by. Time has a way of doing that. Lots of interesting things to cover today. I see senators are demanding accountability from Elon Musk. Those would be Democrats. But I have yet to hear the Republicans demand accountability for Twitter. Why? Musk's latest revolution confirms. Oh, they did it. They interfered in elections.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three.
Yep.
Now today's Big Three.
He's got all of the information, and apparently he's going to be letting it all out at some point. And we had a feeling, we just didn't know how deep this rabbit hole went. We'll get into what he's saying and what it means in moments. But first, thanks to our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage, powering the Big Three today. There's never been a better time. I used to tell you what for the last year or so. I said, you got to get out there and get this done, refinance, whatever you need to do, get it done. Well, you may have missed that boat, but I'm ringing the alarm again. You still got chances to maybe put a little bit more money back in your pocket if you're, well, I guess you had a little bit of credit card debt that you needed to take care of. The higher interest rate, get that out of the way, get it wiped out, and of course, put a little bit more money back in your pocket, a home equity line of credit. Folks, people continue to feel the pinch in a lot of different ways right now. There are so many different ways that they can help you. Might even be a refi, might be if you're looking to buy another home, might be a good chance to call them and find out what they can do for you. Just 5 minutes is all it's going to take on the phone, and they'll tell you whether they can help you or not. They've helped us and many others listening to this program save thousands. Call Dave Galloway and the team today at 616-974-9105. Go online to hhmlending.com.
Number one.
Lawmakers trying to avoid it. They want to get away, try to get out of that railroad strike that's looming. The House sent two bills to the Senate yesterday, one that would force a controversial deal with freight companies and another that included paid sick days. Without a deal, unions could strike as early as December 9th. Now, that would be disastrous. Major consequences in the economy. And, of course, just for you and I and every individual, it could affect food, energy supplies, even drinking water. Not necessarily good news.
Number two.
The Biden administration dealt another setback in court yesterday. It's student loan forgiveness plan. Second federal appeals court rejected the administration's bid to put on the hold ruling, blocking the Biden's plan. The move set stage for the Justice Department to take this case to the Supreme Court. Biden's already asked them to do that. Don't think it is victorious there. It is the latest bad news for Biden.
Number three.
Oh, that also comes along with the fact that it's confirmed now, at least Elon says so. He's dug in Twitter, and he's been able to find that, yes, they have been, and let me read the tweet to you, because it's not just election, it's elections they have been interfering with. This is what he says. In reply to a tweet sent by someone online, Twitter has shown itself to be not safe for the past 10 years and has lost user trust. The past team of trust and safety is disgraced. It doesn't have any right to judge what is being done now. They had a chance, but they sold their souls to a corporation. Elon, responding, said, exactly. The obvious reality, as longtime users know, is that Twitter has failed in trust and safety for a very long time and has interfered in elections. That's plural. Twitter 2.0 will be far more effective, transparent, and even-handed. Now, whether you believe that or not, Whether you believe that Twitter has interfered in elections or not, this is the latest. You know, when you buy a company, folks, you buy you buy it all. You spend, what was it, 45, 40, 50 billion, whatever it was, dollars on a company. You get it all. You get all the warts, the good, bad, and the ugly, right? You get the file cabinets full of all the files. In this case, all of the digital record. Now, you know, when he was coming in, they were in there trying to burn things. They were trying to get rid of it. Who knows what they've been able to hide up until this point. But it remains a solid fact. This is what happened at Twitter. Now, I am not telling you, chances are, if you listen to this program and you have any bit of common sense, you have any shred of actual reasonability, critical thinking skills, you've seen this, you know, for a fact, in 2020, Twitter would not allow the Hunter Biden laptop story, which CBS has now confirmed. It was an actual story. It is actually real. There is a Hunter Biden laptop, and what is inside of it, well, that might be even part of the bigger story. And yes, that's right, folks. All of this is now starting to come out, and all of this is going to be, it's going to be something that you cannot hide from. You just won't be able to hide from it anymore. And hopefully, let's hope that this will see the light of day. And hopefully, and I know some of this is, you know, look, this is just my optimism at play. But let's hope that at some point this makes a difference. A lot of people are going to be out there saying, well, I don't really think it's going to matter either way. I don't think this is really a big deal either. I don't think, what are they really going to do? This is a perfect opportunity. My question is, where are the Republicans on this story? Where are the Republicans on this story? The Democrats on Capitol Hill are saying, well, we ought to look into whether or not he should be able to own this thing or not. Where are the Republicans on this story? Where are the Republicans in the Senate? Where are the Republicans in the House? Where are these folks who should be stepping up at this point and saying, look, enough is enough. I want oversight into what actually happened. Now, we've got control of the House. I want oversight into what happened with Twitter. Who these people were. Let's hold them accountable. What were the practices? What did they do behind the scenes? He has also tweeted in the last couple of days, the Twitter files on free speech suppression soon to be published on Twitter itself. The public deserves to know what really happened. So what really happened? We know that you couldn't even share the story from the New York Post about the Hunter Biden laptop. We know you couldn't even send it in a private message to people on Twitter. We know Mark Zuckerberg has admitted, he's come out and said, Les, well, you could post it on Facebook, just nobody would see it. Seems to be what might be happening on our page right now. We had hundreds of thousands of millions, actually. Millions reach on Facebook at one point over the summer. And then it came to a screeching halt just weeks before the primary. And I have a feeling I know what happened. Now, I won't get into all that. That's kind of some behind-the-scenes inside baseball. By the way, it took an act of Congress to get things straightened out and fixed for us last time. This time around, we can't even get an answer. So that gives me a bit of I think, the level of insight of what is at play at Facebook. it gives you a bit of a level of insight of what is at play or was at play at Twitter. So now you have the obvious, something that you and I have known for years. It's all coming out. You have it all on display. Will we actually get to see? Well, here's the code that this was the emails that were written. Here's what they did behind the scenes. This is how they accomplished this. Will you get to see all of that? Or here's another possibility, and I do think this is a possibility. Is Musk just holding it all up, waving it in the air so that he can have, and this would be a bit of strategy. I think it's brilliant. But is it just holding it all up, waving it around so that he can get whatever it is that he wants to get done and achieved? You know, the guy does a lot of work with the government, the federal government. With SpaceX, Tesla has largely depended on federal subsidies and things like that. Not depended, but benefited from, let's put it that way. Neuralink. The latest announcement out of Neuralink is that they are ready to go. What is Neuralink? Great question. Well, they are ready to go, and apparently the FDA has said they are ready to go at any time now. They're waiting on FDA approval. In fact, I just saw Neuralink update online soon. But Neuralink is basically like the computer link to the brain, the microchip in the brain for folks. That's what Elon Musk is saying is coming. An update on this with this Neuralink. It depends on who you are. It looks like it could be very concerning, or it looks like it could be very promising. Musk tweeting yesterday, we are now confident that Neuralink device is ready for humans, so timing is a function of working through the FDA approval process. He wants this Neuralink approved, and the FDA is waiting to do that. So do you think maybe some of this back and forth with Twitter is strategy? And maybe it's not all politics and he's just all about free speech, but maybe he is practically just trying to get things done so that he can move forward with his next big initiative. Look, sending people to Mars, having electric cars, all of these things are, I think these are plausible, great. Having a Neuralink, some sort of brain chip or something, that would help folks who are sick. I understand those are great on the outside, right? Those are surface level, great ideas. They seem like they're very helpful, but also they could have some wild consequences as well. I'm just what I'm doing is showing you what's out there. Who knows what the truth is on some of this stuff? But oh boy, this Twitter story is juicy. All right, we'll talk to you today too. You can join the program anytime. Is that too far down the rabbit hole, or just gotta poke your head out every now and then? Hang on, folks. We're back with you coming up in just moments. I want to thank our newest sponsor, Mentality. The folks at Mentality, they know, man, we need you. We need you now more than ever to be the best husbands, the best fathers. We need you to show up in your calling at work, no matter where it is, the way you were created to be. And of course, you can't do that if you're suffering a little anxiety, depression, impatience. Maybe weight gain, muscle loss, low energy, motivation. It all could be because of low testosterone levels. Now, you don't know unless you get checked. The folks at Mentality can help. They'll find out, get your baseline, let you know where you're at. And then if you are suffering low testosterone levels, they'll be able to fix that problem. FDA-approved testosterone treatments. They've got board-certified physicians who work with most insurance. Mentality, a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. Let's reach out today to Mentality at lowtusa.com. Go to low, the letter T, USA.com. Go to lowtusa.com today and take your life back.
Hey, West Michigan, it's Schmitty with my friends at Ziegler Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Granville. And you know that one day of deals is never enough at Ziegler. So they are celebrating their Black Friday sales event all month long. You can drive home for the holiday.
Okay. If you're finding us over on Facebook today from Rumble, we have a problem with our software. It is not allowing us to add Rumble to the stream list, and I don't know why. Usually there's never a problem, but there is today. And instead of blowing everything up, because that would take like rebooting this or reloading the screen and all that, and that would just jop everybody off. So instead of doing that, I am working to try and figure it out, but we also have a show to do. So there's only so much I can do. I see the chat is still active over on local, though, or on Rumble. So you can, I guess, if you want to chat with folks in Rumble, I'll keep that up. Let's see how many people. Did it even show us how many people are watching? No, it won't show how many people are watching, but there are people in the chat there too. But that is the story on Rumble. If you figured out how to listen. Okay. Back on the air here. Hang on, folks.
Big Ten Championship. Live coverage begins Saturday night at 7 on Wood Radio.
I got a runner report you won't want to miss today, too. We'll get to all of that as well. That rail strike continues to loom. Lots of questions about this. Lawmakers trying to avoid this rail strike. You know, I thought this was all figured out. I thought this was didn't Biden jump in the last minute and save the day right before the election? And then what happened? Well, it turns out, I guess there was more going on there than meets the eye, and apparently he didn't quite finish the job. And so now we await to find out what exactly happens next. And of course, this is well, if you're working on the rail, that's going to be an issue for you. And if you get things from a now, listen, you might think, I don't get anything for the railroad. Everything you get comes to you every day. It doesn't matter what it is. Food is Christmas presents, toilet paper, the gas to go on your car, fuel, things like that. A lot of it travels over rail. We've already seen diesel shortages. We've already seen issues there. This is going to make the cost of that go even further. Folks in the chat, if you buy diesel, how much are you paying per gallon right now on diesel? How much are you paying per gallon? $5-6 a gallon across the country in some place. And then let me know where you're watching. We have the behind the scenes live stream going on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, usually Rumble, but we're having some technical difficulties there today. Getter, and then YouTube. So people are watching all over the different places, and they can chat and drop in their comments. Michael says 549 in Holland yesterday. 555 in Holland yesterday, Rich said. 518 in Coopersville. So you see that the numbers already pretty high. And that then in turn drives the cost of everything else up through the roof. So yes, as we're dealing with the truth that's pouring out now, apparently the dam is broken, and it's really going to look like it's really going to start to pour open. Twitter and the election interference from that company, what actually took place, who they were working with from the government to make it happen. Folks, that's another piece of the story that is just inconvenient and will not go away. Zuckerberg admitted it on Joe Rogan's podcast that they were working with Department of Homeland Security, and they were working with the FBI and the rest of these folks. They were getting visits from them and talking about what they should and shouldn't allow on their platforms, Facebook. And they're going along with all of it. Now, the truth is they don't need to be told what to allow and what not to allow on their platforms. These people are in lockstep ideologically with these other folks that are in the swamp. They don't need to have instructions. They know exactly what to let through and what not to let through. You got a story that could be damaging to this a brain dead guy that lives in a basement. We're trying to run this guy for president, and you got a story that could be damaging to him. Oh my gosh, we got to get Orange Man Bad out of office. We can't let this thing fly. We can't let it go through. You know what they do. They don't need to be told. And that's a fact. Despite all the rest of these things that are happening in the background, and I just told you about the price of diesel and whatnot, gas could be going down. They're celebrating it. Could go below $3 a gallon. Why that's not necessarily a good sign. Not my words, but the words from the Washington Post. In fact, we'll cover that story and more coming up. Appreciate you being here with us this morning. All right. Let me see if I will try one more time here to get this working over on Rumble. Let me add a destination. Let's see what we can try. Another one of these. Let's just try it. It appears to be there's a problem with my browser. And if I wasn't going to lose everyone here, I think maybe I could see if I can figure out how to reload everything. But I don't want to risk it. I really don't want to risk it, guys. Let's see. That won't let me do it. This one? Hang on. Let's try this. Sending data. Stand by. Streaming. All right, Rumblers, let me know immediately, if not sooner, if you see the live video coming through. Let me know if you can see me. In the meantime, let me say good morning to some of the folks over on. Let's check this. There it is. Rumble's up. All right. Let me see if I can say good morning to folks on Facebook. Tammy, good to see you. Sharon, Karen, Rayanne, good to see you. Thanks for your support on Locals, by the way. If you're not over on Locals, folks, you got to check it out. It's free to join to become a member. Locals, you can become a supporter for $7 a month. You get all kinds of exclusive, extra fun things that we have access to over there. New chats, little fireside chats, all kinds of things that I post over there. And we got more coming in the next few weeks and months. So that's going to be fun. Love to have you over on Locals. But let's see. If you join for a year, you'll get 3 free months. So check that out. Free to join, that you can become a supporter and help support what we're doing. Randy says, quick sign on to say good morning. I'm not late, but have to actually work and listen on the radio. You're working today? Oh, my goodness. What in the world? Elizabeth, do you ever figure out why you kept getting kicked off of Facebook? No, I don't know. I have a feeling that it was something about the title of the broadcast. It had the word gay in it, which I think may have been part of the issue. But then the second one didn't. So I don't know. I mean, who knows what. It seems like it's running smoothly today. If you got me on Facebook, everything good. We know we're up on Rumble now. The Getter folks, let me say good morning to the Getters. Steve, Josh, Radical Red Realtor, Andrew, Valent, Shield, it looks like. Flatlander, appreciate you being here with us. And I'll say hi to the Rumblers who can now hear me as well. Eyes Wide Open, good to see you. Faye, Social Distortion, Lady Blah Blah. Good to see you, too. Sorry, guys, that it took us so long to get things working, but there's something weird happening with the computer, and I couldn't really reset everything to get it to where we needed it to be. So let me try this. Okay. Just got a notification from Rumble that you're on. Oh, that's cool. Do you guys get notifications from Rumble? Does it come through on an app, or is it on the email, or how does that work when you get a notification from Rumble? Paula. Diesel $5.98 in West Virginia. Yeah, and the East Coast has been where they've had the biggest problem with it. Another thing on Twitter that is strange, and I'll mention this only when I get back on the air, but somebody we know was actually suspended for a few days. I mean, after Elon Musk took over, which is crazy. But it happened. Okay. Here we go, folks. Back live on the air. Stand by. Merry Christmas. Even though Elon Musk has confirmed he's dropping a big present for everybody, Twitter interfered in elections. He plans to let everybody know exactly how that happened and bring the receipts, bring the proof and the documentation. You know, when you take over a company, you get it all. You get all the records and the emails. These people are caught red-handed. They never thought in a million years this stuff would see the light of day, that it would ever make it out. And yet, in fact, Elon has it all and is threatening to release it. We'll see whether he does or not. It could just be a strategy and a play for him to get politically what he wants from folks in D.C. So we'll watch. We'll see what happens there. I'll believe it when I see it. A lot of folks are saying, I get that. You know what? I think that's probably a healthy way to look at things. Trust but verify is what Reagan used to say. But, you know, I think that is kind of a healthy way of dealing with things. Let's just wait and see what happens. Let's keep our powder dry, stay frosty. But here's what one thing I discovered yesterday. Pat Colbeck, good friend of the show, this guy that has done a lot of election integrity work, tweeted something yesterday, told me yesterday that it was suspended for 6 days for tweeting testimony from a board of canvassers public comment hearing. I shared this on Twitter. It's gotten a lot of traction. But he says he has been banned for 6 days. There's some sort of suspension underway under his account. Banned for 6 days. Now, this is yesterday after Elon Musk has taken over. So again, as they're trying to clean things up, there's still a lot of questions about whether or not or what will happen and whether the censorship is actually, in fact, going to stop. I don't know. good questions. Well, I tweeted that and put Elon in the tweet, and hopefully he'll see it and maybe make some sort of a shift or a change in policy, or just say, hey, this was a mistake. It never should have happened, but we'll find out. I'm not sure what to say. I don't really have any expectation other than, hey, I thought I'd help him out. So there you go. Now, I told you this earlier. Gas prices are saying, a Washington Post out there saying that gas prices are going down, and we ought to be just ecstatic about it. we ought to give thanks to Joe Biden. You know, it was not his fault when they went up. There's nothing he could do. And, you remember him saying this. You remember the paper saying it as well, all the news sources. But there's nothing he can do about these gas prices. Russia's out there. They're invading Ukraine. There's just nothing we could do. But when they come down, hooray. It's Biden's. He did well, and he did that. You remember the stickers? I did that? Yeah, I guess you left them up long enough. They think they're okay. They're accurate now. He did that in between sniffing hair, coming out of his basement to sniff air, walk to the streets of Nantucket and eat ice cream cones and whatnot. That's what apparently he was able to do to get the gas price. They say by Christmas you could pay under $3 a gallon for gasoline. Now that's going to depend on where you are. I'm sure that's national average, etc. Who knows how far we'll get down in Michigan? Got a lot of taxes on our gas here. But the Washington Post goes on to make this point. I think it's really interesting. They say it's not necessarily a good sign, though. Wait a minute. What? I thought this is amazing. Gas prices finally going down. This is wonderful. We thought might shoot up the other way coming after the election. We might see $5 and more, maybe $8. 10, the way this administration works. I mean, they don't really care how much you're paying for gas, do they? They want you switching over to the electric vehicle, not a Tesla. Now, because Elon Musk obviously is the devil at this point. We can't. I think I covered this the other day, but you did see the story, didn't you? You saw a story where Alyssa Milano, one of these old has-been celebrities, was she in Who's the Boss? I don't remember what else she was. She was on a television show, I think. Maybe TV. She's like big for just being an activist. A celebrity activist at this point. Anyway, she was, if you go back and pull her old post on Twitter, she's just an absolute super fan of Elon Musk. Wants to marry him. All these series of tweets that she's doing. The other day she said, because of Elon Musk taking over Twitter, that she has decided to sell her Tesla. And I think I told you this story, but she said she's going to get a electric Volkswagen instead. And she got one. And someone had to tell her what happened with the Volkswagen. So she found out, I think the hard way on Twitter, Volkswagen was actually started by the Nazis, Hitler. And no word. Somebody ought to check on her to make sure she's okay. But yes, they're very upset with Elon Musk right now. You can't, the guy is, he's basically persona non grata. So U.S. gas prices are plunging towards $3 a gallon. Here's why. Demand is dropping. Washington Post says it's not necessarily a good sign. Demand for gas is falling. Well, why is demand falling? See, now all of a sudden, supply and demand is a thing, and we don't live in a bubble. So I was told that, the supply and demand thing was not real, and that the reason gas prices were going up was, obviously it was Putin. Duh. Putin and Elon Musk together, I'm sure, causing problems. But Putin, and then I'm sure throw Orange Man Bad in there, too. But Putin was the problem. He was the real issue. And also, don't forget those greedy oil companies. They're just taking record profits. They're the problem. So the supply and demand thing was not real. Supply and demand, not a real situation. But now they're telling us that demand is dropping, And so because demand is dropping, now the gas prices are dropping. So supply and demand, it was not linked to pricing in the first part. Now it is, according to Washington. But you have to have some sort of Venn diagram. I hear Kamala loves those, or some sort of flow chart to follow it all. And still, your jaw is on the ground trying to follow the lack of logic with all of it. But essentially what's happening, and this is very real and very serious, demand is falling. Countries are preparing, I'll say this quietly, for an economic downturn. Well, that can't be happening either, because we know the economy is just firing all cylinders. Joe Biden said it the other day. In fact, he said, no. In between licks of that chocolate chunk ice cream that he loves, in between lips on the ice cream cone, sniffs of the hair from young girls. That's what he said. He said, look, things are just they're just peachy. So other countries are preparing for economic downturn. You're not hearing about it because we're busy hearing about how wonderful the World Cup is, amongst other things. You ever noticed all these stories that are being forced on us on a daily basis, celebrity stories or stories about things about this World Cup, like soccer? Like, I know there's a few people that like it, that are into it, but they always want to force us to love things or to be interested in things that, we just don't care about. It's constantly being pushed down through the propaganda of soccer, which I believe might be a communist plot in itself. I mean, think about this. It's a game in which the United States, I think they've scored 2 goals in 5 games, and we're supposed to be excited for this? Look, I even played soccer when I was a kid. It's the most boring sport. I don't even know if you could call it that. It's all this activity and nothing really gets done. It's socialism, communism altogether. I think it's a communist plot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to take the branch off, but that's what, that's the where I prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. We're supposed to care about this garbage. It's all distraction, pure distraction from the fact that the economy is not doing so hot. And you know that because you go out and you put gas in your car, and you go out and you buy groceries at the grocery store. You go out and you try and pay bills and everything, your electric bill, your gas that you put in your car, diesel, whatever it might be. Everything costs more. Supply and demand now, they say, demand going down because countries are preparing for an economic downturn. Here's something else. The Fed, and by the way, the stock market jumped yesterday. And I go, oh boy, this isn't good. Because you look at reality and then you look at what really happened. Now, I'm not telling you how to invest or anything, but I had a conversation with a buddy of mine. I said, oh, this doesn't feel, everybody's celebrating. Fed chairman just said the magic words. The Fed may slow interest rates starting this month because of signs that inflation is slowing down. What they mean is that the economy is slowing down. Stocks soared Wednesday after Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said rate hikes could ease this month. Well, that's good, yeah, right? Inflation, but that also means the economy is slowing down. You put all these things together and try to figure out why and how it all fits together. The Dow is more than 20% above its 52-week low, which puts it at a new bull market, they say. The economy is so firing on all cylinders, doing so well that apparently CNN is laying off people. NPR has got hiring freezes. All these tech companies, Amazon, Facebook, we've heard, a lot of folks been cut at Twitter for other reasons, but also these tech companies they're out over their skis. You gotta cut this stuff. They got too much debt, and they've got to figure out how they can cut before they get eaten alive by it all. And that is just to name a few of the stories. And again, these are the stories that you won't hear anywhere else. And at least the commentary, I don't think anybody's talking about this. But again, it doesn't take, you're told that you can only listen to experts because you clearly can't believe your lying eyes. You clearly don't have you don't clue what's going on. You have to listen to the experts about these things because you don't know. Now, who are you to make decisions about your own health? Who are you to make decisions about, the economy and what you should be doing with your money? No, you should listen to the experts, listen to the talking heads. They're really essentially saying listen to the propaganda. CNN admitting, folks, not too excited, not too hot.
What's going on here with consumer confidence?
Listen to what
consumer
this,
confidence is the part of it where consumers are saying they're feeling a certain way. And what's going
with CNN, one of the two there. She's talking about high inflation.
What's going on here with consumer confidence? Consumer confidence is the part of it where consumers are saying they're feeling a certain way, and they're saying that they're feeling uneasy about where the economy is headed. Consumer confidence falling to its lowest level since July, falling for a second month in a row in November, and they're basically reflecting that there's uncertainty going forward, that they're feeling pretty gloomy about where the economy is headed. Why? There are three reasons why, and I bet you can guess which the first reason is, and that's inflation. Inflation at 40-year highs. No one likes to spend top dollar for rent, food, and clothing, right? Secondly, gas prices. When the survey was taken, gas prices were actually at a high, so confidence took a hit then. And then the third part of it is the jobs market. Look, you can just watch the news and hear about the tech layoffs. That creates uncertainty as well as the hiring freezes going on at a lot of these tech companies as well.
And by the way, that's just the beginning of all this. It's not, people really don't care about tech layoffs. They hear it. It's kind of noise out there. They don't really care until they lose their job. They get laid off or something else worse, happens. And of course, then it really starts to impact you and you feel, or maybe your family or friends or loved ones or someone else. They go through it. But you and I know. My point is that you and I know. We've always known. We're constantly told you can't trust that. You can't believe that. You have to follow the experts. And by the way, this is why the issue with Twitter and the issue Elon Musk is trying to uncover right now is so important. They have been lying to us, and now they're lying about lying to us. And that's why, I don't know, this year, apparently the word of the year, it's so appropriate and so fitting. The word of the year sort of just hits the nail right on the head. We'll explain it, and I think it really does. I think it explains everything that's happening right now. Everything you see, you hear, from the talking heads, the politicians in Lansing and D.C., all over. Truth is, you're no dummy. Folks, you know what's happening. You got more than 2 brain cells, and you're not feeling a brain freeze from looking too fast and furious on your ice cream cone like Joe Biden, and you probably know what's going on. As long as you're not shaking hands with the wind like that guy, you know what's going on. We'll talk about it coming up next. Hang on. Oh, Gary's getting a free beater upgrade. Good for you, Gary. Good for you. Steve's got a guess on the word of the year, bamboozled. No, but it's close. Oh, man, it's close. It's a good one. That's a good one. Bamboozled. Hoodwinked. Then I gotta pull this up and see if I can find. Yeah, here it is. New York Times. Is it New York Times? No. Merriam-Webster. Merriam-Webster's word of the year. Merriam-Webster. All right, have we recovered over here on Rumble? Is everything back up to normal? I'm sorry about those technical issues this morning. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that echo. We've got that. We seem like we've got that fixed as well. All right, so we got about half the audience we normally get on Rumble. Everybody else is probably spread out to different platforms. But if you ever have an issue, just know that that's why I do this. That's why I go live everywhere, is it take one down, we're going to be at different places. But Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube. And if all else fails, there's no chat feature up right now, though we might be able to fix that at some point. My website, justinbarclay.com. Let me just show you what it looks like. You go to justinbarclay.com. You click on the after show. Still haven't taken that graphic down. I got to take it. I think that sale might still be live too. I got to fix that. Oh boy. Yeah. See this? This is, you go to the after show and this is the stream. You can watch us here. There's 7 people watching on this thing. Isn't that something? I never expected it to happen. And then later on, you can listen to the after show. It'll stream live right here. Or watch it. Up to you. But see that? That's how that works. We're all over the place because we've got to have fail safes. Sherry said it's acting like a Monday on Thursday. Yeah, it is. It is kind of weird. And it's a very weird, we got a very weird sort of weird Thursday today. Well, I'm going to tell you, the whole day's been like that for me. Thank God for Jesus. I'll tell you that much. If I didn't have Jesus, I'd be pulling my hair out today, folks. That's just real talk. It's one thing after the other, they say, right? That kind of thing. But no, I tell you, man, I'm firmly rooted. Hang on 1 second. Back on the air here. Stand by. Thanks to our good friends at ProTech Heating and Cooling. Maybe it's time for a new furnace. Yeah, I know. Things bumping, knocking around like the dad in a Christmas story. You got to get that figured out. Visit the folks I trust. ProTechGR.com. Thanks to one of the great supporters and sponsors of this program and what we do. The word of the year. Every year they come, like the end of the year, they come up with this stuff. I don't know if you pay attention. When they try to, it's like a way of sort of like giving you something to talk about. And then generally this came like the end of the year. There was slow periods of news. Now we don't have that anymore. It used to be the worst time to be on radio, talk radio and things like that were like in the holidays. And so, fill in, like I'll tell you, when I first started filling in for Glenn Beck, we had to find different things to talk about because there wasn't a lot of news. So you sort of just talked about things in general. But now we have breaking news stories every day. Well, that's why they had these stories, is that it was PR in a lot of ways. Companies would try and get news coverage or they'd try and get talked about. PR because putting their own stories out. The word of the year is this. And here are the top story of the year. Here's what happened if we look back on 2022. All that stuff. The year in review and all that. It was just kind of filler stuff. So that's where we have this, where this comes from. This Merriam-Webster. But I do think, I'm going to tell you right now, when you hear this, you're going to say, my gosh, this is actually, yeah, that's accurate. Their word of the year, and they've have weird words, and they've had, slang terms and things like that. But the word of the year this year is right on the money. It's called gas lighting. Now they've got some others. They've thrown in sentient, Omicron, queen consort, and other top lookups. But their biggest word of the year is gaslighting. In the age, this is how they describe it, Merriam-Webster. Is there not a better term, better word? If you think about everything that's happening, fake news, you think about what we're hearing from politicians, gaslighting. Is there not a better explanation? I don't think there was a better word for this. They say in this age of misinformation of fake news, conspiracy theories, Twitter trolls, and deep fakes, gaslighting has emerged as a word for our time. A driver of disorientation and mistrust. Gaslighting is the act or practice of grossly misleading someone, especially for one's own advantage. Well, a lot of the times, gaslighting is used in abusive relationships. And by the way, are we not in one with our government? I'm not trying to make light of that. Are we not in some sort of abusive relationship with our government? It seems like it. I remember in 2020, that meme was going around. If he told you that you couldn't leave the house, And that you couldn't say certain things or see your friends or go to church, all these different things it said. What would you say that he was being abused? Well, that's what your government is doing, is what they said. Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we were going through. And now we're being gaslit. A driver of disorientation and mistrust. Gaslight is the act of practice of grossly misleading someone, especially for one's own advantage. I never even heard of this word until like a couple of years ago. 2022 saw a 1,740% increase in lookups for gaslighting with a high interest throughout the year. Its origins are colorful. The term comes from the title of the 1938 play and the movie based on that play, the plot of which involves a man attempting to make his wife believe that she's going insane. His mysterious activities in the attic cause the house's gas lights to dim, but he insists to his wife that the lights are not dimming and that she can't trust her own perceptions. Now, folks, is that not what we're being told on a daily basis? Don't trust your lying eyes. We're being gaslit by the news media, by the politicians, by social media on a daily basis. We're being told that reality is not real. Up is down. Truth is fiction. And it's all fake news. Or as Merriam-Webster says, gaslighting. All right, more in the after show. We did barely scratch the surface. I got a Rona report chock full of gaslighting. We get to that. Some sudden and unexpected health news for folks in there as well, plus much more. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube, all those places to watch and stream live, as well as JustinBarclay.com, the after show. Fastest hour in radio is done. We're back tomorrow morning at 9:06. Make it a great day, folks. God bless. Okay. Drinking from the fire hose, indeed, Tammy. Drinking from the fire hose. I appreciate y'all being here. Just going to click a couple of buttons. Don't go anywhere. The fun is I start. It's the after show, the show after the show. And we'll stream that live. You get 2 shows for the price of 1 today. 2 shows for the price of 1. Step right up, folks. All right. And they're free. They're absolutely free. Here we go. Welcome to the after show. It's the show after the show. That's why we call it the after show. Never a dull moment. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Tammy said on our chat behind the scenes live stream, you ever want to watch live, you can. We're 9 to around 11, sometimes a little earlier. 9 to 11 Eastern. We stream it live. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube, my website as well, JustinBarclay.com. And also, you can listen to the podcast as well. Take it with you wherever you go. Facebook, well, wherever you get your podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, etc. Grab you a nice cup of something, well, your favorite beverage, and we'll get into it. Yeah, I just told you the word of the year is gaslighting. We're being told, no, that didn't happen. Every single way you turn, direction you turn now, you're being told, no, that didn't happen. It's crazy, but isn't this something? Gaslighting. The origins of the term come from the title of the 1938 play and the movie based on that play, the plot of which involves a man attempting to make his wife believe that she's going insane. His mysterious activities in the attic cause the house's gas lights to dim, but he insists to his wife that the lights are not dimming and that she can't trust her own perceptions. Oh, you can't trust. You're going crazy. It's meant to drive people, and this is torture, folks. This is evil in itself. This is just absolute evil, maniacal manipulation, and it happens every day with the media, fake news media, fake news. It happens every day with politicians and Lansing, and happens online, social media. Trolls try to gaslight. Oh, no, that didn't happen. Yes, it did. Here are the receipts. By the way, that's why receipts is so big. You ever see people say the receipts? Here are the receipts. Why are the receipts so important? It's the proof that what you're saying that you experienced happened, or what you're saying happened did happen. The receipts, the proof. You're not being you're being gaslit. This is what happened. That's why they want to erase everything, too, by the way. This is why they want to say that men are women, women are men, and you can be whatever you want to be, and up is down, right is left. They want to do all of this because they want to confuse and absolutely scramble everyone's brains so that at the end of the day, you have to look to them for everything. How to think, what to think. You got to look to them for it all. When gaslighting was first used in the mid-20th century, it referred to a kind of deception like in that movie. Here's how Webster defines it. Merriam-Webster. Psychological manipulation of a person, usually over an extended period of time, that causes the victim to question the validity of their own thoughts, perception of reality, or memories. Typically leads to confusion, loss of confidence and self-esteem, uncertainty of one's emotional or mental stability, and a dependency on the perpetrator. Now, I don't think about it. Why would they even allow? Webster has to change their definitions all the time, too. How long do you think it is before this one's changed? Why would they even allow this? A dependency on the perpetrator. So you're telling me that let me just get this straight. I'm not used to what we call logic. Let me add these things together. If the fake news or politicians or social media wanted to psychologically manipulate someone, usually over an extended period of time, to cause that person to question the validity of their own thoughts, perception of reality, or memories, and typically lead them to confusion, loss of confidence and self-esteem, uncertainty of one's emotional or mental stability, and dependency, it would end up in dependency on the perpetrator. So if my government was doing this to me, it would be that the reason would be they wanted me to depend on them, not be capable of independent thought. If social media companies were doing this to me, it would be because they wanted me to not be able to form my own ideas or independent thoughts, and that I must look to them for the thought of the day, the narrative of the day. If news networks, newspapers, whoever, politicians were doing this, that must be that their end goal was that I depend on them. They go on to say, in recent years, we've also seen the meaning of gaslighting refer to also to something simpler and broader, the act or practice of grossly misleading someone, especially for a personal advantage. Well, grossly misleading the public for personal advantage? I think that still fits. In the use, the word is at home with other terms relating to modern forms of deception and manipulation, such as fake news, deepfake, and artificial intelligence. The idea of a deliberate conspiracy to mislead has made gaslighting useful in describing lies that are part of a larger plan. Unlike lying, which tends to be between individuals, and fraud, which tends to involve organizations, gaslighting applies in both personal and political contexts. It's at home in the formal and technical writing as well as colloquial use. Yeah, and it gives a couple of different ways that it shows that. English has plenty of ways to say lie, from neutral terms like falsehood, untruth, deceitfulness, prevarication. Oh my gosh, what kind of weird commie word is that? fib. The Cold War brought us the espionage-tinged disinformation. In recent years, with a vast increase in channels and techniques used to mislead, gaslighting has become the favored word for the perception of deception. This is why, trust us, they say, it has earned its place as our word of the year. They're telling you now. Now they're telling you that that's what they're doing. They're admitting it. Folks, get prepared. I don't know what's coming. We just talked earlier today about the downturn in the economy, a couple of big issues and news stories. Gas prices are going down. They said, hooray, congratulations. We're all excited about gas prices going down. But the Washington Post says, wait a minute, not so fast. It's nothing to be excited about. It's not a good sign. They say demand for gas is falling. That's why prices are going down. Why? Because countries are preparing for an economic downturn. They see the signs. They know what's coming. You're not really being told about it. In fact, the stock market just jumped yesterday. I don't know what's coming. I really don't. Food costs through the roof. People having to make tough decisions between gas and groceries. We already know that is something that's already been here. It's here now. You may want to get ready for you, your friends, your family, no matter who it is. Go to preparewithjustin.com. They're sponsor of this program, so they make this very program possible. It's a win-win because not only do you get stocked up and, maybe a hedge against inflation with some of this food that lasts 25 years, also you help support the program at the same time. We get a little kickback. They'll get them send us a toaster or something like that. But they do. They send us a little money. 10% of what you buy. It's not a lot, but at the end of the day, a little bit adds up and it helps. Every little bit helps get us to where we need to go. And we've got a little ways to go, folks. There are things that we want to do in the career, the things I've been planning behind the scenes. I can't wait to share with you and tell you about, but we continue to kind of unveil some of those here and there to help build what we're doing here, sharing the stories that you won't hear anywhere else. A great Christmas special, save $60. Preparedness crate for emergency 65 items inside. You can save $100 on a 4-week emergency food supply or grab 67% off on lots of different Christmas gifts and food to the supply kits, cans, and all kinds of other great things. They've even got water filtrations. Folks at My Patriots Supply wanted to help you, of course. Go to preparewithjustin.com. That's preparewithjustin.com in order to take advantage of this offer today and help this program. Preparewithjustin.com. Thank you, folks. Rona Report, I told you, is going to happen today, and I promise you news you're definitely going to want to hear. In fact, I don't know if you saw this, but the Chinese protest stories, it's kind of quieting down again. And boy, that's kind of dangerous. You don't want to see that quiet down because, boy, I tell you, when it does, these people that were out there bravely protesting, they're going to swoop in and do things to them. Caught in the act. This is Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Castro Trudeau, tweeting what? Back February of this year, if you join the protest because you're tired of COVID, you now need to understand you are breaking the law. Remember that the protest, of course, they had the truckers and they had people standing up in Canada. Remember they were seizing people's bank accounts? Oh, no, that never happened. That wasn't gaslighting at its finest. This is Justin Castro Trudeau today. Well, a couple of days ago, at least, talking about what's happening in China. Everyone in China should be allowed to protest. Wait a minute. It's not even a year. A year hasn't even gone by. And a whole entire year hasn't even gone by. So you're breaking the law in Canada, but yet in China, the people ought to be allowed to protest. Well, the truth is that people ought to be allowed to protest, not just in China, but also and the Great White North as well. Our friends up north in Canada and here in America, everywhere. We ought to be able to protest. That's one of our human rights. Redress our grievances. He says, we will continue to ensure that China knows we will stand for human rights and with people who are expressing them, unless they're inside of our country, then we'll seize their bank accounts. Yeah, this is the latest from his Twitter account. Lots of news stories that are. I told you about Elon Musk earlier. I did not mention that he met with Tim Cook at Apple. I don't know what happened there, exactly how that went, but he says that it went well. He says, thanks to Tim Cook for taking me around Apple's beautiful HQ. Posted a little video on Twitter as well. Good conversation, among other things. We resolved the misunderstanding about Twitter potentially being removed from the App Store. Tim was clear that Apple never considered doing so. Well, this is also after, Elon said, well, I might just my own phone. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff that we're seeing out of him right now, I think he's really enjoying having a megaphone. I think he's really enjoying having the ability to troll people on a wide scale, on a level that that he's never had before, that maybe no one's ever had before. I think it's fascinating. So I don't know what to take from, and there's been a lot of people from the beginning that said, I don't know about this Elon Musk. I don't know. And I can't say either way. I will tell you this. I think you are right to trust but verify. All of the protests in China, all of the issues that we're seeing coming together with these, they all have to do with obviously the zero COVID strategy and the lockdowns that had taken place in China. The latest is that 10 people at least, maybe more, dead in that apartment building because of the lockdowns. They were welded in, shut in, told they couldn't leave, and of course, burned alive inside of that apartment. It's just absolutely tragic. It's horrifying to think of, and that's why people are taking to the streets in China. It's time for a Rotor Report. The High Priest of Health himself, St. Anthony of Wuhan, Dr. Mr. Booster. All righty then. Couple of interesting stories, including one update about Al Roker. You know, he's in the hospital the other day for sudden and unexpected blood clots. They're back. We'll get into that coming up in a second. Along with the latest in sudden and unexpected deaths, Robert Malone, doctor, the man, yes, who knows what he's talking. Speaking of trusting the experts, he's on the Emerald Robinson show the other day talking about how it's possible that mRNA can quickly turn into DNA inside cancer cells. This is quite a fascinating story, and if you follow it all the way to its conclusion, he kind of tends to mention that, these things, let's just call it what they are, the jam, Fauci ouchie, the hokey pokey, that they could be causing some of the issues that we're suddenly and unexpectedly seeing in a lot of healthy young individuals.
Anybody that has any credentials as a retrovirologist, this enzyme, the Nobel Prize was awarded to David Baltimore for it. And Rudy Yanish showed very early in the outbreak that you could get this phenomena of reverse transcription of RNA into DNA. There's also another pathway for doing this, which has to do with formation of triple helix. So the RNA can kind of wrap itself around the DNA double helix, or an open DNA single strand and influence the replication of the DNA and cause that to then incorporate these sequences. The key question is it clinically relevant? Does this happen often enough to be associated with clinical disease? And if it does, the place you're most likely to find it is in oncology, in the development of cancers, tumor cells. And that also has been long known. So any of these folks that deny that this could happen are not on solid scientific ground. And usually the ones that are making these statements have no solid scientific training, because anybody who does have knowledge in this area and training knows that this is a well understood and accepted phenomena.
I watched somebody on Twitter yesterday, it goes by the handle like Michigan Liberal or something, like just outright argue with flat out experts who testify in court, experts who know exactly what they're doing, industrial hygienists. And this person who has their Twitter troll degree apparently decided they knew more. Went to Twitter Troll University. They knew more than these people and went back and forth. And unfortunately, I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done it. But it was necessary. I tagged one of the experts who we know, Kristen Megan, in this post. This guy came in and said, this thing didn't say what you said. It said it did. Well, this was the story yesterday I told you. The study about the N95 masks, that they were just as worthless as the regular masks. And that didn't say what you meant. I got, all right, listen, I hate to do this, but unfortunately I must. And I tagged Kristen, and then it was like an all-out assault of science. The science. Out of nowhere. Boom. So anyway, you have these people gaslighting each other over on Facebook, on Twitter, all the social media with the trolls. They want to get in and they want to tell you why they're so smart and you're not. You have no idea what you're talking about. But then again, it doesn't really stop the reality from occurring. I know they want to sort of redefine reality, and I know they want to tell you things happened, didn't happen. Of course, that's gaslighting, the word of the year this year. But Al Roker is back in the hospital, whether you believe it or not. 24 hours after being released, he's back in the hospital, rushed back day after Thanksgiving amid his ongoing health scare due to blood clots. And who knows why those blood clots occurred? Who knows where they came from? I don't. I'll tell you what, I wish him well. I wish him well. I'm praying for him and all of these people. But he is back in the hospital with blood clots. Just another story suddenly and unexpectedly. But this is the thing. We saw the young man and let's say, actually, this is the country artist yesterday that we talked about, and Steve shared this over on my locals page. I didn't see it until after the show, but I posted show prep yesterday, and he shared a couple of different comments here. Let me share with you. This is Jacob Flint, the country music. The guy posted it on his. I don't know if this is real or not, but if it is. Guy posted it on his Instagram, his vaccination record. And you have Pfizer on 3/29 and 4/19 of 21. But this is the guy that died suddenly and unexpected. Now, Jake Flint Music. Jake, if this is real, it looks like it is, said in his comments, fully vaxxed to the max and ready to make some tracks to Halifax or wherever else, Key West preferably. Unfortunately, he died a day after his wedding. A day after his wedding. You said there's one with comments? I don't see it, Steve. Let me show you what I got here. Or was it his comments? So maybe that's what you were talking. It's just it. Look, folks, I don't know. But I'm going to show you things that you're not going to see anywhere else. You're not going to hear these stories anywhere else. And my question is why? Why not? Aren't we supposed to know? Aren't we supposed to talk about these things so that we can help each other? Jay Glatson says on Rumble, you know who's not getting these massive blood clots? The science deniers. Look, I'm not trying to make people feel bad about getting it, or I don't want you to be afraid. In fact, the other day they had a story out that now one of the reasons why you cannot make this stuff is so crazy. You talk about gaslighting. One of the reasons why people are having adverse events, what do they say? Adverse events, fear. Let me look that up. Adverse events, fear vaccine. Let's see if it pops up for us. Let's see. We'll go to the news. Yeah, this is the newest. This is the newest. I don't see the story now, but there's a new study. There was a study that was done. I don't know if I shared it with you or not, but there was a study that was done and said all the adverse events that are happening because people are getting the jab, especially immediate adverse events, they're only happening because people are afraid. And it's people like you. It's people like you who are spreading this fear and misinformation and disinformation that are causing them to be fearful and then to have these adverse events. So first, now you remember, first of all, there were no adverse events. Now all of a sudden, if there are adverse events, it's only because you were spreading that 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 fake news, that misinformation. That there was a problem here. Meanwhile, tell that to Al Roker, who is again back in the hospital. Must have been a disinformation that got him. I guess that's what had happened there. Okay. The UK Daily Mail ran an alarming story this weekend line. Will the pandemic come from the Arctic? Listen to this. The next pandemic. You talk about just crazy. Oh, yeah. Cold showers, all that stuff. I remember those playing video games or killing people, all that, whatnot. The heart. It was all these weird things that came from. Listen to this. It's an update, folks. The UK Daily Mail ran an alarming story this weekend headline. Will the next pandemic come from the Arctic? Ancient virus that has laid frozen in Siberian permafrost for 48,500 years is revived. Coffee and COVID's Jeff Childers has the latest on this. The article based on a newly published study titled An Update on Eukaryotic Viruses Revived from Ancient Permafrost. The gist is a team of scientists have been mining Siberian permafrost, finding ancient frozen organic matter, filtering the recovered matter to discover old viruses, and then trying to bring the viruses back to life. Because science. He says, you with me so far? The research team is super excited because they actually managed to revive 7 different types of never-before-seen viruses, including one they estimate is 48,500 years old. Now, check this out. The old one, the 48,500-year-old reanimated virus, is described by the Daily Mail as part of a family of viruses called Pandora viruses. They're egg-shaped with the hole in one end. Can you guess what Pandora viruses are named after? They named after Pandora's box. You know, the story where the stupid girl broke the rules and opened the box and she wasn't supposed to, and then let all the evil things inside fly out and infect the entire world. That's what this reanimated virus is named after. Experts says, you legit cannot make this stuff up. If I wrote and submitted a novel to publisher about Siberian scientists reanimating 50,000-year-old viruses and called the viruses in my story Pandora viruses, the editors would likely be like, come on, Jeff. That's too obvious. Name the viruses something else. And guess how the rest of the story would obviously play out. Only a couple months ago, I reported on a study by Boston University said researchers precisely described how to make COVID more lethal in the lab, well, maybe that was a Freudian slip, right down to the models of the equipment. In other words, they were doing gain-of-function research right in Boston. And then excitedly giving every lunatic in the world a step-by-step recipe for how to do the same thing. As it turns out, the study was quickly pulled after he says he reported on it, pointing out the painfully obvious problems. He says, now I'm only spitballing here, but shouldn't scientists who reanimate ancient viruses and make coronaviruses more lethal do jail time? Shouldn't we lock them up for safety, for the common good? If the scientists are in a jurisdiction where we can arrest them, should we send a SEAL team after them to protect the community, or do we just have to lie here pretending nothing weird is going on and just take it? Me, I'm for jail, he says, at least. A popular new Netflix series is called Ancient Apocalypse. It features a journalist who's researching what is maybe alternative history. For example, he tours archaeological sites whose existence challenges the conventional narratives, such as complex ancient structures that predate the normally agreed upon period for the invention of agriculture. The host also discusses historical evidence for a worldwide flood, giants, and other non-mainstream things like that to show his high production values, takes its subject matter seriously, is interesting and well-made, probably didn't cost a lot to make, and has been getting great user reviews on Netflix. He says, I probably would never have noticed the show except that it's becoming painfully obvious that corporate media can't stand the series, and it's totally triggered by it. Of course. In a recent article, the Guardian UK included the alarming headline, Ancient Apocalypse is the most dangerous show on Netflix. The subhead even asked, why has this been allowed? Allowed? By whom? Who does the Guardian think allows or disallows Netflix shows? Biden, the disinformation board? Coffee and COVID's Jeff Childress goes on to say, remember, this is the same Guardian that not too long ago published a glowing review of the pedophilic movie Cuties. So it takes a lot for the Guardian to find a show dangerous on Netflix. In other words, the Guardian can find something to like and even defend, even in a movie bursting with pedophilic imagery. But a series about archaeological digs is just way too much. Oh, lots of good stuff over in coffee and COVID today. Here's an interesting story. Dr. Masanori Fukushima, well-credentialed and well-respected Japanese scientist, apparently unloaded on Japan's Ministry of Health this week. He says, while I can't follow the Japanese, Dr. Fukushima does seem downright furious. The doctor explained that Japanese citizens who experienced low rates of COVID early in the pandemic enjoyed existing antibodies from a different but related virus According to Dr. Fukushima, though, the jabs destroyed that existing immunity, and now Japanese people are catching COVID at high rates. So you are ignoring science. It's a disaster. You spend billions on the vaccine and force people to inject it due to the vacc's natural immunity has been suppressed. Nearly 2,000 people died, but I think this number is much higher. Most of them fall asleep crying. I don't know if that's an actual translation, but that is what this post appears to say from this doctor on coffee and COVID. Yeah. Imagine that. So they had immunity, and then all of a sudden forced to take an experimental jibby jab. The Japanese no longer have that. They no longer have that same immunity. I've got to show you this, folks, before we go. This is another story that is not, and there's just so much right now. There's just so much out there, and I do my best every day to bring you everything that I can. But this one I meant to get to yesterday, and I did not have time to get to it. But it is a story that ought to be covered and is not. And when you hear, you'll understand why. But it is a story that ought to be covered and is not being covered by any of the mainstream press. Project Veritas, though, they've decided that it deserves coverage, and they are pushing it out. ProjectVeritas.com. The folks exposing the horrible sexual exploitation being sponsored, this one tweet says, by Amuse on Twitter, by the Biden administration. Migrants pay $10,000 to get to the U.S. and have sex with Democrats to repay their border crossing debt. Some of the allegations are absolutely bombshells.
The tax dollars of people who are listening are paying to put children in the hands of criminals. I said, I need to make you aware. And they said, Tara, we don't get sued by traffickers.
A government whistleblower has stepped forward to Project Veritas to detail her harrowing experience at the Department of Health and Human Services. In 2021, this whistleblower volunteered to assist HHS with the placement of unaccompanied minors and was deployed to the Migrant Emergency Intake Site in Pomona, California. There, she witnessed the agency failing these children, as she puts it, doing the work of the cartels on your tax dollars.
These vulnerable children, we care for them, we clothe them, we feed them with your dollars and my dollars. We fly that product directly to the trafficker. God forbid it's sex trafficking.
Project Veritas embarked on a 9-month investigation across the country to corroborate our whistleblower's claims. So he attempted to traffic children, and he's still at address in Texas.
Yes. We have 44 unaccompanied children at that address. We have 25 unaccompanied children at that address.
Project Veritas put boots on the ground, visiting scores of addresses the whistleblower shared from case files she worked on. What we found was shocking.
¿Quién te patrocinó a
Una
ti?
tía, pero me corrió en la casa. Ella me ofrecía, y a mí no me gustaba eso.
¿Te ofrecía qué?
Me ofrecía con los hombres, pues.
Pero ella, ¿cuántos hombres ella te obligó a estar con cuántos hombres?
Bueno, con muchos, ni por. Porque no me gustaba lo que me decía. Me obligaba.
Ella de
Let
verdad.
me read some of this to you because it's happening fast on the screen. 16-year-old female, they're talking about Project Veritas. She offered you what?
Me ofrecía con los hombres, pues.
She would pimp me to men.
Pero ella, ¿cuántos
And
hombres
how many men did she force you to be with?
ella te obligó a estar con cuántos hombres?
How many men?
Bueno, con muchos.
Well,
Ni
many. I don't remember, she says.
porque no me gustaba lo
I didn't like what she was doing to me.
me obligaba.
She forced me.
¿Ella de verdad era tu tía o fue alguien que se...
Dice que ella
She
me
really
conocía.
your aunt, or is she? She said she said that she knew me since I was a young child, but I didn't know her.
Sponsor can hold up that order of deportation to that child and say, if you do not do what I say, I'm going to call ICE on you myself.
Sí me ayudó, nada más que yo me escapé ahí en la noche. Ella
She said, I just escaped one night. Later on, she called immigration.
That this is something that HHS wants people to know. If you're a case manager and you know this information, if you really care about the children being safe, you need to come forward.
Project Veritas doing the important work, projectveritas.com. Well, folks, look, you know, there's so much happening. There is so much happening. And stories like this just seem to fall through the cracks because people don't really care. They don't. This doesn't impact me. This doesn't affect me. But you know, this is happening all over. This is happening all over. These kids are being exploited. It's a humanitarian crisis in levels I don't know that we've ever seen before. In fact, the story that I saw today, and I think this was reported, this may have been CNN with these numbers. Yeah. Biden administration projecting daily migrant border crossings could double. Could double. You know how bad they are already. They say they could double when Trump era policy ends. This is from CNN. Between 9,000, let's see the full numbers here. Yeah, between 9,000 and 14,000 migrants may attempt to cross each day when the border policy known as Title 42 ends in 3 weeks. The Department of Homeland Security projecting that would be more than double the current number of people crossing. Double the current number of people crossing, which is already unsustainable. Since March 2020, border authorities have been able to turn away migrants encountered along the border under Title 42. However, that will no longer be the case later this month when authorities return to traditional protocols under which migrants are either removed from the country, detained, or released into the U.S. while their cases make their way through immigration court. There is some good news in all of this. I understand, look, you hear stories like this and the horror that is happening to these people and the children specifically. But there is some good news, and particularly with CNN. Layoffs begin at CNN amid Warner Brothers' Discovery cost-cutting plan. Let's see what they say. The cable news giant CNN will be hit by layoffs Wednesday and Thursday, part of continued cost-cutting by parent company Warner Brothers. Now, I don't ever want to see anybody lose their jobs, but this does seem like it is for the good. The common good, anyway, right? That's what it seems like. What do they say? Our people, the heart and soul of this operation. The executive added it is incredibly hard to say goodbye to any one member of the CNN team. One member. Don Lemon, that's who I would pick if I had to pick one member. The cuts are not a surprise. They've been warning employees in late October the news division would be undergoing a restructuring. Yeah, nobody's watching anymore. It's just like Twitter, as Musk said earlier. Just like Twitter, their credibility is completely gone out the window. They'd be better off showing that fuzzy, sign off with they used to show back in the day when they used to sign television stations off. I know this is showing how old I am, but they used to sign television stations off. They weren't all 24/7. They would sign off at the end of the day. The Communist News Network, Tammy says. The Clinton News Network, the Communist News Network, yes. That along with MSDNC, and yeah, we have a recipe for debate. But the other story I heard, NPR, like now this is National Public Radio. How the heck are they public radio laying off people? But it's happening apparently. Hiring freezes, expecting a $20 million budget shortfall. No layoffs at NPR, just hiring freezes. $20 million budget shortfall. How does that happen? You're supposed maybe people didn't donate enough? Or they're just sitting on a mountain of tote bags or something out there? What is happening at NPR? Cutting at least $10 million for the current fiscal year ending September 30th. The network's chief executive, John Lansing, announced Wednesday due to a sharp drop in revenue from sponsors. Oh, boy. Well, that's why it's important to support our sponsors, folks. I'll tell you that much. They are hurting. And, folks, the people that come alongside us and say we're going to plant our flag in the ground and we're going to stand with you because we believe this stuff is important, they're the ones we need to support and stand by. So anytime you buy anything, I want to tell you right now, here's the way you can do it. Go to justinbarclay.com, justinbarclay.com, and when you get there, click on the sponsors page, and you'll see various different sponsors who support this program. Patriots Switch, Heartland Home Mortgage, My Patriot Supply, Prepare with Justin, the Tuttle Twins. All of these different ways to support this program. You can click on any one of these sponsors, and you will help support us. And we're adding more. In fact, we're adding more every day. Our latest sponsor is a little company called Mentality. Now, they're special because these folks believe that men matter. They believe that you, men, were important. We need you in the fight. And they've seen this epidemic of low testosterone, some of the things that it causes throughout our society, and they are committed to helping get men back on track so they can be the best husbands, they can be the best fathers, they be the best in their calling, the way that we're created to show up on a daily basis. The folks at Mentality, a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. And we say thank you to them for all that they do, not only in the fight, but also supporting us. So, guys, if you're feeling any of those symptoms, low energy and motivation, weight gain, muscle loss, irritability, any of those things, get tested, find out. Because in Mentality, they have this all kinds of great things they can do. FDA-approved testosterone treatment, board-certified physicians who work with most insurance, but they're going to be able to help you today. You got to get tested to find out where you are, though. Go to lowtusa.com. That's low, the letter T, USA.com. Go to lowtusa.com and thank those folks. Any one of the sponsors you reach out to, say thank you for supporting Justin and thank you for supporting the work that they're doing, getting the stories out matter most. We really appreciate you helping out. All right, folks, there you have it. Lots of good things, as always, over at my store, justinbarclay.com. Books, hats, T-shirts, all of the good stuff. Get your tinfoil hat for the time you might need it. Never a dull moment. These days, I think we might have to ramp those tinfoil hats up a little more often. In fact, look at that. You got the beanie. The new beanie is out. We've got, what else? Look at the new ball caps. The one that comes in camo and a couple of different colors. Great T-shirts are out there. Hoodies. And the Let's Go Brandon ugly Christmas sweater and more. All of it at justinbarclay.com /store. So click on in and get your gear today. They make great presents. Always a pleasure, friends. Appreciate you being here with us as always. Back tomorrow morning, right here with you. Make it a great day. God bless.